Hello children, we are discussing the chapter 9, body movements. In the initial videos of this chapter, we have discussed about the movements in plants and animals. Plant shows very slow movements which cannot be observed easily, whereas animals perform locomotion. That is, their whole body moves from one place to another. Then bache, in the other parts we will discuss about the skeletal system of human beings. There are 5 parts which we have already discussed in detail, that is the skull or the cranium. Then the second part which we had discussed is the rib cage, then the backbone or spine, the girdles and the limbs. Two types of limbs are there. Forelimbs, that is the arms, and hind limbs, that is the legs. That we had already discussed. Then a very important part of this chapter which we have discussed already is joints. The connection between the two or more than 2 bones that helps in the movement is known as joints. The joints are basically of 2 types. First is immovable joints, which cannot be able to move at all, and the second one, movable joints, which moves up to a certain extent. That we had discussed in our previous videos, bache. Then in the last video we'll discuss about the muscular system. I'll give you a brief idea of that. Bache, our bones come closer to each other or moves away by the help of a specialized system, a specialized tissue, that is muscular system or muscular tissue. 2 muscles always works in pair, in the antagonistic pair to each other. If one muscle contract like this contracts, the other muscle relaxes, and if this relaxes, the other muscle contracts. This is bicep muscle and this is tricep muscle. One is contract, then other one relaxes. If this one relaxes, then other one contracts. And this, if this contracts, these bones come closer to this bone, bache. And when this relax, the bones will move ahead, move away. So these are the movements which are controlled by the help of skeletal system along with the company of muscular tissue or muscular system. Next, in this video or from now onwards, we'll discuss locomotion in other animals. Other means other than humans. About humans we have discussed the joints, the muscular system. Now we'll discuss the other kind of animals which have a different body structure, which have different body organization composition as compared to humans, how they move. So in that, the first organism which we will discuss, which is the part of our syllabus, is earthworm. Earthworm is a long cylindrical shaped body organism. इसमें क्या है बच्चे, long ring like structures है. An earthworm has approximately 114 segments. उसमें इस तरह के लगभग cylindrical 114 segments होते हैं बेटा. You must have seen the earthworm in your life. Earthworm is also known as farmer's friend because it helps in increasing the fertility of soil. The endoskeleton. There are 2 kinds of skeletal system are there. One is endoskeleton, another one is exo. We'll discuss that after the movement in earthworm. Endo means internal. The skeletal system which is present inside the body of an organism is known as endoskeleton. Endoskeleton forms the framework of an organism, whereas other one is exoskeleton. Exo means external. The skeletal system which is present outside the body of an organism. We have skin as our exoskeletal system. Hair, there is exoskeleton. Nails, that is also the part of exoskeleton of humans. Insects have a hard covering over them, that is also the part of their exoskeleton. The endoskeleton of this earthworm is filled with a liquid. That liquid gives this earthworm a fixed shape. So these cylindrical segments will form the body of an earthworm. Then in the inner surface on the outer sides, there are certain bristles present. These structures which are represented in this diagram, that is bristles. छोटे छोटे बच्चे जो जैसे टूथब्रश के ब्रिसल्स होते हैं, बिल्कुल वैसे ब्रिसल्स प्रेजेंट है, बिल्कुल फाइन ब्रिसल्स होते हैं. What is their function? These bristles helps the earthworm to provide a firm grip एक स्ट्रॉन्ग ग्रिप बनाने में हेल्प करते हैं। इन ब्रिसल्स की हेल्प से वो अटके रहता है बच्चे, एक सरफेस को चिपका हुआ रहता है, ग्रिप बनाकर रखता है। Then its internal surface also have two kind of muscles. One is circular muscles and other one is longitudinal muscles. When circular muscles contract, its body become long and thin. And when longitudinal muscles contract, its body becomes short and thick. बच्चे जब सर्कुलर मसल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करती हैं तो इसकी बॉडी लॉन्ग हो जाती है, लंबी, और थिन हो जाती है, पतली। ये सेगमेंट्स जो है वो लंबे हो जाएंगे और पतले हो जाएंगे। फॉर एग्जांपल इन दिस पार्ट, लेट अस सपोज बच्चे दिस इज द ए पोजीशन वेयर अर्थवॉर्म इज स्टैंड स्टिल। दिस इज द स्टेशनरी पोजीशन, दिस इज द फ्रंट पार्ट एंड दिस वन इज द बैक पार्ट ऑफ अर्थवॉर्म। These are the segments, the cylindrical segments of earthworm's body. These are the bristles by which this is attached to this surface. Let us suppose this is the surface on which this earthworm is moving. Now first, circular muscles contract and the front part becomes lengthy. It's lengthens. And lengthen means length बढ़ गई बच्चे. And it's become stouter. अब देखिए बच्चे, ये गोला है, ये छोटा हो गया, पतला हो गया, तो it becomes longer and thinner by the activity of circular muscles. It's a very important thing, bachche. When circular muscle contracts, it becomes thin and long, and the front part moves ahead, bachche. पिछड़ गया तो आगे हो गया part. Now, this back part is stationary. It's fixed. After this, these muscles relax, contract जो हुई थी बच्चे relax करेंगी, and the longitudinal muscles, the muscles which are present below it or behind it, they contract. तो वो contract करेंगी बच्चे, तो ये दोबारा से अपनी शेप को regain कर लेगा। जब बच्चे सर्कुलर मसल ने किया तो ये लंबा हो गया, जब longitudinal muscles ने contract किया तो ये क्या हो गया, सीधा, बिल्कुल वैसे का वैसा, as it is. At the same time, उसी समय पर बच्चे the back portion of this contracts. The circular muscles of the back portion contracts. पहले बच्चे फ्रंट का किया था, सर्कुलर मसल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की तो ये लंबा हो गया और थिन। फिर बच्चे लॉन्गिट्यूडनल मसल्स ने एक्ट किया, लॉन्गिट्यूडनल मसल ने से क्या बना दिया दोबारा से, थिक और शॉर्टर, छोटा कर दिया और मोटा कर दिया। देन सेम उसी टाइम पर, at the same time, the circular muscles of the back portions contract. सर्कुलर मोशन पहले आगे के हिस्से की बच्चे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की थी, अब पीछे के हिस्से की कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर रही, एंड the back portion is become smaller and thinner. When the longitudinal muscles of this region, this back portion works, contracts, it will become thick and smaller. ये अब बड़ा हुआ है, लंबा हुआ है और थिन है। जब लॉन्गिट्यूडनल मसल करेंगी तो क्या हो जाएगा, बिल्कुल नॉर्मल। तो बच्चे जब ये नॉर्मल होगा तो इतना पोर्शन आगे की ओर मूव कर जाएगा। तो सेम ही चलेगा बच्चे, पहले पतला होगा आगे का हिस्सा, फिर नॉर्मल, इतने में पीछे का हिस्सा पतला होगा और फिर नॉर्मल। तो इस कॉन्ट्रैक्शन रिलैक्सेशन से ये आगे की ओर मूव करता जाता है। It moves very, very slow. Earthworm's movement or speed is very slow, but that's how it moves. I am explaining it to you again, bache. There are two muscles which works antagonistically opposite to each other in the movement of earthworm. The first one is circular muscles. When circular muscles contracts, it's become thin and long. And when longitudinal muscles contract, it will regain its shape, that is, it becomes thick and short. सबसे पहले सर्कुलर मसल आगे के हिस्से की कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करेंगी तो ये लंबा हो जाएगा और पतला, it becomes thin and long. When the longitudinal muscle contract, it will regain its shape, but at the same time the circular muscle of the back portion contracts, and when they relax and longitudinal muscles contract, it will move ahead by this manner. So that's how earthworm shows the movement from one part to another by the contraction and relaxation of circular and longitudinal muscles. Next we will discuss the movement in snail. The exoskeleton, that is the outer skeleton of the body of a snail, has a hard shell. That shell is known as calcareous shell. Calcareous means the shell which is made up of calcium compound. That is calcareous shell. So exoskeleton of a snail composed of a hard shell, this one. This shell does not have any role in the movement. बच्चे ये जो हैवी शेल इसकी बॉडी पर है, इसका मूवमेंट में कोई रोल नहीं है. That is just keep on dragged along with the body. स्नेल को बस इसे ढोना पड़ता है. स्नेल इसे बस ड्रैग करता है, घसीटता है इसको अपनी बॉडी के साथ. That shell is made up of calcium phosphate and calcium carbonate. That's why it is very hard. It protects the head of the snail and the body. जब बच्चे स्नेल को लगता है कि कोई मेरे ऊपर कोई जो प्रेडेटर है वो आ गया उसे खाने के लिए, शिकारी कोई उसका प्रे करने आया, उसे खाने आ गया है, तो इट विल bend his head into the shell, and that head is remain protected by that hard calcareous shell that is meant for only protection. Then it has a foot. That foot has muscles, as well as that muscular foot released a slimy substance. What do you mean by a slimy substance? Slimy means chip-chipa. That slimy substance is known as mucus. M-U-C-U-S, mucus. This mucus helps in the reduction of friction. Now the question rises, what is friction? Friction is the force which opposes the motion. फ्रिक्शन एक ऐसा फोर्स होता है बच्चे जो एक मोशन को रिड्यूस करता है, जो एक मोशन को हमेशा कम करने की कोशिश करता है. दैट फोर्स, दैट ऑपोजिंग फोर्स इज नोन एज फ्रिक्शन. दिस स्लाइमी सब्सटेंस, ये जो चिपचिपा सब्सटेंस है म्यूकस, इट हेल्प्स इन द रिडक्शन ऑफ फ्रिक्शन. ये फ्रिक्शन को कम करता है एंड ड्यू टू दैट द बॉडी कैन मूव इजीली. और फ्रिक्शन जब कम हो जाएगा तो एक बॉडी आसानी से मूव कर पाएगी. सो दिस mucus helps in the reduction of friction, and this mucus is released by the glands which is present inside the body of it. Muscular foot के साथ बच्चे कुछ glands present हैं. Those glands release the mucus, the slimy substance named as mucus, which helps in reducing the friction of this snail with the ground. ये जिस ground पर चलेगा बेटा, यहाँ मान लीजिए ground है, तो इस ग्राउंड पर जो ये चलते हुए फ्रिक्शन लगेगा उसे कम करने के लिए म्यूकस रिलीज करता है. अलॉन्ग विद दैट म्यूकस आल्सो प्रोटेक्ट इट्स सॉफ्ट बॉडी. सॉफ्ट बॉडी को भी प्रोटेक्ट कर रहा है. क्यों? अगर वो चलेगा बच्चे इस तरह से चलता है तो बॉडी रब होगी, रबिंग से बच्चे स्क्रैचेस आ जाए. तो टू प्रिवेंट दैट स्क्रैचेस आल्सो, टू प्रिवेंट दैट रबिंग आल्सो, इट हैज अ स्लाइमी सब्सटेंस नेम्ड एज म्यूकस. दिस मस्कुलर फुट, this muscles contract, relax, and by this snail moves ahead. Or snail is continuous contraction, relaxation of the muscular foot से, of the muscle present in that foot से move करता है. It crawls on the ground. रेंगता है बच्चे. It also moves very slowly. बहुत धीरे धीरे से मूव करता है बच्चे. बहुत ही ज्यादा स्लो मूवमेंट शो करता है. So that's how these snails move. In this structure, bache, it describes the complete structure. This is the head region. It has certain tentacles. It has eyes on it. ये eyes है बच्चे, इसकी tentacles हैं. तो ये इसका body part है. इनका कोई रोल नहीं है बच्चे मूव में. They just helps that snail to see around. देखने के काम आती है बच्चे. तो ये है, ठीक है. As well as if you look at this part, this is the trail of mucus left behind. You must have seen the rockets, beta. Rockets are going in the sky. Those rockets leaves the trails of smoke. Likewise, the snail leaves the trail of mucus behind it on the surface. अपने पीछे क्या करता है बच्चे? एक लाइन छोड़ता जाता है. किसकी? म्यूकस की, स्लाइमी सब्सटेंस की. इससे पता चल जाता है बच्चे यहां से स्नेल पास हुआ. So that's how the snails move from one place to another by the help of a foot, which is a muscular foot that contracts and relaxes, by which it can drag the body ahead. And that's how snails move from one place to another.